Welcome back to this Step It Up Entrepreneur podcast. Tomas Keenan, your host. I got my man Patrick Allmond here with me today, and I'm going to talk about this dude for a minute. We've known each other longer than he probably recalls, and believe it or not, we've actually met each other in person twice. And I've been in
the first time. When was the first time?
It was in Phoenix, Arizona, sir, at Icon for Infusionsoft back in the day.
Got it.
I think it was either 2016 or 2017, somewhere around there.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
I was there with my ex-wife. We were at some after party in the hotel lobby, listening to some music, and you were there with a woman, a friend of yours, it seemed, and my wife wound up talking to her, and we kind of conversed briefly and went about our separate ways. Fast forward. And like we were connected on social media from that point, right?
Right.
Fast forward a couple of years, and I come to an event down here in Dallas, and you sat right in front of me, literally in front of me. Man, this big ass guy sitting in front of me. I'm blocking the damn stage. Meanwhile, I do that all the time because I'm not a small human,
right?
So we've been connected for quite some time, and I've been stalking you in a good way for a bit because you're one of those people who's very active, we'll call it, in the marketing communities and the software tools that you use for your own business that you also implement and leverage for your own clients and the stuff that you do. But you're also very vocal. When something ain't right, you let everyone know. And I appreciate that. I think it's just transparent and call it how it is. So welcome to the show, sir. I have I've been pretty excited about this episode to dive in because I know that you're a complete full-blown nerd, and we like nerds around here.
Yeah, I think you're like me. I'm a nerd that also likes to bench press. So like I've already been on the bike this morning. I'll work all day long, and I kid you not, tonight is chest night, and as soon as I can shut off the tech side of my brain, I'll be over there slapping on the plates and hitting the weights. So it's always cool to find someone who's like that, who can kind of swings both sides of the spectrum. And what he didn't point out, which is really cool, I just learned recently as we were prepping for this, is he actually physically doesn't live that far from me right now, probably within about 3 hours. So now I know if I'm ever headed down to Dallas, I know who I'm hitting up for, a high protein lunch or some coffee or something right there. So thanks, man. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you. I'm sorry I blocked your view at the conference. I didn't realize that you were right behind me.
It's all good, man. It's all good. But yeah, it's deal. This morning I hit chest pretty hard at the gym. I try to go in the mornings. And I'm okay now at this point. I've been working out for so many years that I can go learn a day if needed. But I just do better with this little bit more structure in the morning. So if I can get up, get the kids to school, head over to the gym from that point moving forward. And I just feel like I've already won the day or accomplished more by getting that hard shit out of the way first.
Yeah. And I try to split up my aerobic. So this morning it was, I've learned that my body does, first of all, I'm sorry, I'm an Apple fan. I live and die by this Apple Watch right here. And I've learned from my workouts that I don't go by time anymore. It's by how many calories that I burn. So this morning it was 200 calories. That's my standard Wednesday morning workout. 200 calories on the bike, get in, get out, get home, and shower and get clean up for the day. And then I do weights. So I kind of split mine up Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But anyone who's even in the workout space knows you just do what your body feels comfortable with. And anybody that walks inside the door of the gym, any gym whatsoever, I have a immense amount of respect for, because this is this body of ours, this vessel of ours, we're only given one shot with it. And we've got to keep it in good shape for, my mom in Seattle, my daughter in Brooklyn, my wife is, down the hall here. It's just, I feel very responsible of taking care of people. And one of the ways I can do that is make sure I'm physically in good shape at all times as much as possible. So kudos to both of us.
Yeah, I do agree, man. It was a game changer for me. I've talked about this a lot on the podcast here, but it was, I guess, 2017-ish. I just got done with being out of shape and taking care of me. And I didn't jump into it, head first and all of a sudden one day come out and be a pretty decent shaped, 40-year-old male. It took several years of me. And it was very small steps and iterations, just getting better and better each and every day, each month that passed. And, now people look at me and they're like, oh, wow, you're in pretty decent shape. Like, must be nice. Like, you have no idea the amount of work that has gone into this. So
exactly.
A couple other cool things about you before we dive into this, the tech side. I heard rumblings, sir, that not only are you a veteran, but you're also a pilot.
Yeah. Man, when I was a kid, I lived up in by this little city called Ocean Shores off the coast of Washington State, and I saw a plane, saw a small plane, fell in love with it. Fast forward to when I started my business in 1998. Once I had some money rolling in, one of the first things I did is went down to the local small airport and started taking flying lessons. I'm into it now for a few hundred hours, and I am the kind of guy that, if there's ever an airplane flying overhead, I'll just stop and just my mouth waters.
Hmm.
So it's one of the fun.
Hmm.
It's one of those childhood things that I really wanted to do that I finally knocked out, and it's my pilot's license sits behind my driver's license on my wall. It's one of my biggest accomplishments.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's definitely something that's intrigued me as well. And I was definitely that kid as well that was staying up at the plane as they flew over. And growing up in Long Island, pretty unique place, and a lot of people don't know this, but there is a ton of aviation history there.
Hmm.
There were old World War II military bases,
Right.
Army Air Corps. There's a couple of air power museums, they're called,
Hmm.
throughout the island, like two really nice ones. And Grumman was headquartered there for years. So when I was a kid, when we used to go on the east end of Long Island, which is about a good hour from my mom's house,
Right.
um, we go to like, Cub Scout camp or some stuff, and you're in the middle of the Pine Barrens. And yes, the Long Island is not all concrete. There's woods and there's deer and there's all sorts of animals and life out there. But you'd go out there and early in the morning, you'd get woken up to this enormous rumble. You look up in the
Oh.
sky, and the test pilot would taking off with two F-14s that they just built and just ripping through the air. And it was the coolest freaking thing ever.
I've got at least 3 aviation tracking apps on my phone, and so if anything's flying overhead, I'm doing this real quick, seeing what is it, a helicopter? Is it the Popo? Is it one of the news
Yeah.
stations? I just can't. I'm addicted to it. And we were talking about. So you were up in New York, isn't off
Mhm.
the coast? Is it off the coast of Manhattan? There's like an aircraft carrier or something like
Yes,
that.
there
Like
is.
that.
It's on the west
Yeah,
side. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
That.
the I've got scars on my body from that place as a child, literally. Yeah.
So that's
It's
one
the
of my favorite.
USS Intrepid.
There you go. And then what's in so I always remember these things by like business trips. So and then what's the one in San Diego? Is that the
That is
Nimitz?
is that the Kennedy? No, that's
It might.
I've been on that one a couple times too.
Okay.
That's a huge ship, because the one over in
Yeah.
New York is an old, World War II, real small. And the one over in San Diego, enormous. I mean, you can spend solid 2 days there and not see the whole ship.
Yeah. I remember I've done several business trips there, and the hotels aren't too far to like walk around the bay there real quick and go on that. So hopefully we'll
Yeah.
get to business at some point in time. We're talking weights and aircraft carriers and all this cool stuff. I just didn't realize how many Venn diagrams you and I cross here. So this is cool stuff.
Yeah, it is cool for sure. So
Yeah.
tell me what let's just tell the audience what you do first, because
Right.
let's dive into business that way. And then I want to learn how you got started and learning, the tech side of what you do.
Um, my brain's always been a tech brain, and we're talking from like 12 or 13. I was already doing software development. I really don't want to show my age too much, but these old Radio Shack TRS-80 machines were used to literally write software and save it on cassette tapes. That's how old school I am there, and that carried forward into where I am right now, which is primarily marketing automation. Is our agency's sweet spot right there. Being able to take a lead coming in and figure out what they want and qualify them and filter them and get them the best information possible, to eventually get them to kind of a consulting engagement of some sort. And we work primarily with like thought leaders, speakers, and authors. I come out of the professional speaking world. I was a member of NSA for a while. So that whole thing was like selling and bundling your knowledge is our sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I would assume, sir, that you've got countless hours on the stage as well.
Yeah, I wish it was countless. I could probably count them, but they're going to be up there definitely in the thousands. But yeah, I was
Yeah.
just talking to another lead this morning, a guy who's in real estate, and I was like, I do this, and I had my real estate license, and I can pitch from stage with the best of them, do the whole psychological buildup and stuff like that. He's like, man, so you can go from nerd to like keynote, and I like, yeah, if I really have to, I can go from nerd to keynote. And I think one of the areas I've done really well in my career is being able to simplify technology. I had a job at Hertz, the rental car company. Their big data center is a couple miles from the house here. And I would brief the executive VP every morning of all the IT issues, but I was always told I was really good at explaining them in non-IT terms. So, if a hard drive falls down and breaks and we lose 6 months of data, I could say that and not say hard drive and not say all that stuff, which is why I've always been like that good middle road there between the C-suite and the nerds.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you got a lot of years growing up playing with the tech, playing with computers. I mean, that's even before me, and I definitely wasn't into that stuff as a kid. I just wasn't. I was too busy playing football and Nintendo. And how did the marketing automation thing about? Was there, web development was your sweet spot before that? And marketing automation has just morphed and changed so much, even in the short time that I've been involved. Like, how does this come together for you?
I was just, as you are talking right now, I was just trying to think. And I think what happened is back when I was a member of NSA, National Speaker Association, which is based in Phoenix, Arizona, there was a vendor there. Should I say the vendor's name? The green and gray vendor out of Phoenix. Is that okay? Yeah.
Ahead,
so there was, so Infusionsoft was there and they had a booth and they pitched me on it and I started using it for my marketing. And it came really naturally because of my software development background. And for those of you who don't know, marketing automation is just laying out step by step what happens and if then and all that. And that just came naturally. So I first was an Infusionsoft user, then I was a certified consultant and then doing the work for people. And I was just able to knock out stuff really fast that people have been trying to work on for years. And so that kind of hit my sweet spot of being able to like go to a conference, talk about marketing automation, pitch, get clients, and then my agency would do the work for them kind of thing. So I have that kind of computer logical brain. So I think it was coming out of the I was Toastmasters, then NSA, then founded Infusionsoft, then started going to the Infusionsoft conferences in Phoenix, Arizona. And then, I've been through a couple of tools like everybody has in the world. And, we all know where you and I landed.
We do. Yeah. Infusionsoft, I don't use them anymore because of where we currently are and just transparency, because we talked about it on the show before, but we're both high level users and we both love the platform. Okay?
Yep.
And there's so much you can do with it, and we'll get into nerd stuff in a minute. But Infusionsoft is where I landed. I hired my first business coach in my last service-based business, and I was a technician, knew nothing about business automation systems, nothing. Right? Guy's like, you need a CRM, and he goes, here's a couple that I recommend. Here's a couple that I used before pass. Go do your own homework and figure out which one of these you want. So I go through, looking at all these things, analysis paralysis, like for 30 day kind of deal. My first time doing this, and I decide, hey, yeah, Infusionsoft's the one. And mind you, like at this point in time, I have trouble sending an email. I am definitely not prepped and ready for the beast of Infusionsoft. But that's where I went. That's where I got my feet wet. That's where I started to learn and surround myself with other people who were using it and using it well. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was also training myself and prepping myself for a position that I landed in for 2 years, working for a big company down here. And I come into the office my first day, start seeing behind the scenes in this new role, and lo and behold, they're running Infusionsoft at that point in time. I was like, oh, that's awesome, because now I could just go there and plug away knowing what I'm doing and really help this company quickly. Right. So it's kind of funny how life takes you down these paths. I had a choice, but I didn't really have a choice. I kind of just surrendered to what was put in front of me, and I took it and I ran with it. And the people that we came across, I mean, I met you there because of several other people who I'm still close with or connect with, and just learned a ton from very smart, very valuable people in several different industries as well. So it was just a really good experience for me. Right. Yeah. And then, here we are now today.
and those conferences, I just want to make sure that I want to get the opinion out there. I'm just kind of curious if that's the belief. I have no beef or anything with Infusionsoft. I learned, so I'm still friends with so many people there. The lady that you probably saw me with was a friend of mine named Chris Kowalik, another veteran. She's a Marine veteran. And we've been to several Infusionsoft conferences together because we had some Venn diagrams there. And I just made, I made some really great friends there, and a lot of them have transitioned to other tools. A lot of them have come to high level, but the concepts, one of the things about all these tools, if you learn the concepts and don't get focused on the tools so much, it's not hard to jump from tool to tool. I am one of probably the newer high level users. And as you
Mhm.
know, in the community, I don't want to brag, but I contribute a lot just because this stuff comes naturally to me. So as long as you learn the concepts of marketing automation, it's really good. And I'm
Yeah.
ever thankful for, cutting my teeth on Infusionsoft. They put on some great events, and I have a mad respect for Clay and all those people. I really do.
Mhm. Yeah, agreed. Same here. I mean, I learned so much from that community. I won't talk badly about them. I do think that there's options and solutions out now, and
Hmm.
that's probably one of the reasons that both of us have switched on and kind of moved on as well.
Yep.
But tell me about the clients that you're working with and some of the deeper, more intricate stuff that you're helping them put together. Because look, there's so many people out there who figure out the game with high level. They go and they buy their own agency account and they go and they attempt to set this thing up, and
Right.
they're like, oh, what do I do? There's real work that needs to be had. And
Hmm.
I'll give you a shout out here. I think it was last week in the high level Facebook group. You put up a post, and in 2 hours flat, you had a new account set up and active and running.
Oh, it was 2 minutes.
Oh, it's 2 minutes.
It
I
was
read
the
the time
email.
wrong.
It was the key. Oh man. So there's a story about this. The
Yeah.
older I become, the more relaxed and loose about
Mhm.
what I say and what I do and when I do it. I'm just zero F's. My day, I'm just having more and more zero F's every day. So I saw a post in there about someone complaining about the email setup. It's evening. There may or may not have been a glass of red wine in front of me. I know your opinion on alcohol. So I was just sipping away at a glass of red wine. I'm wondering how long it takes me to set up a new account to be able to send email in high level. So,
Mhm.
phone timer, click, 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 start. 3 minutes, put up the post you saw right there.
Mhm.
Um, Everyone raves on it. I'm like, a couple more sips of wine. I wonder how much faster I can get. And did it again. I got it down to 2 minutes. So 2 minutes in this tool, where we're going from like a brand new empty account to being able to send an email to myself under a branded domain with all the DNS work done. Because email setup is so important these days, and high
Mhm.
level makes it really easy. I mean, DNS records, for example, I don't want to get too nerdy, but DNS records can be a nightmare. And high level has this thing now where it's like click, couple of clicks, it'll do the DNS records for you. Put them over in your registrar and done. That's what I
Mhm.
was using, as I was using all the shortcuts there. And um, for the average person, it probably would take more than 2 minutes. It might take 30 minutes. But that
Mhm.
was just my way of showing that if you know your chops, and once you get really good at this tool, the tech part becomes easy. They really do make it easy.
Yeah.
Somebody, I think, I replied in that thread, like, people don't know how lucky they are. For those of us that grew up on, Active Campaign and Infusionsoft and stuff like that, you don't know how good you have it. It may not be
Mhm.
perfect, but back in the day, I think my response to that was like, yeah, back in the day, I had to walk uphill both ways in the snow to do my DNS records, kind of thing. So yeah, that's what it was. It was the 2 minute thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, they've man, even since I started using the platform, we'll go a year and a half ago or so, they've just improved so much. I mean, even the DNS records, used to have to manually go in there and set, which was terrible. But now,
Right.
like you said, it's a couple of clicks of a mouse and you're done. So, from a client perspective, what are some of the automated systems or flows or workflows you have to put into place, your opinion, that
Hmm.
any business needs? So let's say a client comes to you and is like, hey man, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I need and you're like, okay, that's awesome. But before we do all the fancy shit, you need these 5 basic pieces in place and functional first. What are those for you?
Probably one of the first things to me. Well, let's get the basic tech stuff out of the way. A2P, SMS, cell phone number, excuse me, texting number
Yeah.
set up, and email domain set up like that. Um, I'm a big fan of using the pipeline to push people through. Consulting engagements, because a lot of people speakers that come to me, they've only done stage speaking, they've never done consulting. So I'm like, let's get a consulting pipeline set up, very easy, so you can collect hourly or get people on retainers. So getting some kind of retainer system set up is really important
Mhm.
to me. And well, along with that, I could probably segue in saying getting a pipeline set up. Thomas has a really good example of like a podcast pipeline, but the pipelines are so easy for one of my clients, like a speaker, to be able to drag something from here from A to B, and a bunch of things happen behind the scenes. So that would be number two right there, is getting
Mhm.
a good pipeline up and running. Another one would be like, it's a very basic free opt-in. And this is kind of one of those things where I've got to get better about eating my own dog food. I'm not even sure right now. I have like a very basic get my free opt-in thing going on. But for my clients, I like to deploy those because, in my opinion, building up that email list is important and as soon as possible kind of thing right there. So you said 5 things. So now you're making me think off the cuff. I should have had my high level account up when we were talking right here. I like to have. We both come from the world of Infusionsoft, where a tag organization can be a little bit of a challenge. So I like to get like a good tagging nomenclature set up where it's like category dash tag. Since high level doesn't have tag categories like Infusionsoft does, I like to come up with, here's our 5 or 6 tag categories. And then, after that, you do dash lead, dash sale, dash paying client, that kind of thing right there. So that'd probably be number 4. And then outside of that, the missed call text back, I'm getting better at. I know it's a big selling point of theirs, and I have it set up on my account. I don't sell it a lot myself, but I know that's an easy win for anyone that's considering getting into high level is the MCTB, because they give you all the work right there, the missed call text back. And I've even pitched some local roofers here on that feature to help the roofers get some, basically the speed in all the worlds of consulting and service-based businesses, the speed at which your reply determines oftentimes who's going to get the sale. And if you could take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and someone's got another browser tab open and they're shopping someplace else. And I know this tool is really big for the roofing industry. So I've started to look out that it's not my niche, but if I talk to a local roofer here, because they walk my neighborhood a lot and they pitch me, I'll often check and see if they have anything like that. And a couple of weeks ago, I think I put this up in the Facebook group. Some guy opened up knock on the door and was starting to pitch me on roofs. I'm like, hey, I'm good to go. But what do you do for digital marketing? Long story short, that guy's in my CRM now as a lead. So I reversed the pitch on him while he was standing at my front door because it's a really good tool for roofers, for plumbers, for anyone who has like an emergency or needs something done right now. So off the top of my head, those are probably the 4 or 5 things I would say people need to get set up out of the gate.
Yeah. So it's a really cool feature. And for those of you listening, what the hell is missed call text back? It is exactly how it sounds. So if somebody calls your number that's in your high level account, an automation kicks off and it sends out a templated text like, hey, this is John from Step It Up Academy. I asked your call. How can I help you? Right. So you're just opening the lines of communication from there. And from there, you can do countless other things with it too, which is cool.
Exactly. Like right now, if I'm on this podcast with him, if someone calls me right now, I'm going to miss it because I'm focused on this. They'll get a text right away and that conversation will start. I don't have a lot of the AI work going on yet, but they'll get a text message immediately. And I can pick up when we're done with the podcast and see what they need.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty cool feature. All right, cool. So that's the basics. For the fancier stuff, what do you like to do? What lights you up in the work that you're doing for your clients?
I really like advanced logic workflows because I have a very binary brain and a Boolean brain, if then, binary kind of stuff. It's just, I don't know where I picked this up as a kid. There's something wrong with me. But I've got a client right now that we have 2 very complicated workflows. Actually, my favorite one is the coaching workflow because everyone that comes in for a sale, we drop them in this coaching workflow. And I really have to zoom out to see all the forks I put in there. But the coaching workflow has stuff in it like, has this person bought from us in the past? If they have bought from us in the past, what's their LTV? And when I say if, then, when, these are all decisions that you can automate inside when you're building a workflow. For example, in this coaching workflow, I divide them up into 4 different LTVs. Have they spent over $5,000? Have they spent over 1,000 but less than 5,000? Have they spent over 500 but less than 1,000? And then the lower end people, because those 4 people get handled completely different. And the coaching conversation for the coaching team is different for the $5,000 or the $10,000 person versus the person who's only spent $200. I know it seems kind of weird, but we send all the leads to the coaching process. And then once they get down, maybe let's say they're, the lower end one is more of an automated path. So let's say that they've only spent $300. Then my later if then is, well, have we talked to them about coaching in the past 6 months? Because if we have, we only do that every 180 days. If we have, send them off to a dead end. If not, create an opportunity for them and then put this information on the opportunity. And I know, as I'm kind of riffing this off the top of my head, that's a very simplified version, but this thing has, there's all these kind of forks in here to basically help qualify. And that's one of the things I really love about automation is it can use information you have and that you've asked people to basically qualify and figure out whether or not, you're dealing with a tire kicker who has no intention of opening up their wallet, or if you're dealing with the guy who, is like, I want to get started right now and I have no pricing kind of limit when it comes to coaching kind of thing. So that's probably one of my more complicated workflows. And then we have one, I'm starting to do a lot more event management with High Level. And so when people buy tickets or when, send them down different paths and then nurture them to the event start date, getting them information about the event. One of the features I really do like about High Level, I'll take a breath here in a second, is the fact that you can set an event date for an appointment. Again, classic. Thomas is such a good user of this. The time we started recording this podcast, he set this as like an event date in an automation. And then before then, I'm getting emails. I got email yesterday. I got an email early this morning. I probably got an email an hour before this. But he said, Patrick, podcast recording is at this date, this time, and then you can plan backwards. And again, people don't know how good they have it. Back in the day, back in the Infusionsoft day, I would have to put the start date and work forward, and I would have to do all the math in my head. So, starting on Monday, wait this time, wait another 24 hours, wait 23 hours, wait 9 hours, and plan forward. So you kids these days don't know how good you have it. Trust me.
Very true. Yeah. I've done some event stuff with it as well. And one of the cool things that and I have an event this year. I think the event space has changed a bit, and I kind of backed off. I did 3 last year, and they weren't huge events. They were about 50 people each, which is a good number for what I was doing. They're more workshop than typical. Get on stage and spew your bullshit, which we can have a long discussion on that. I'm sure hours.
It's part of our industry, man.
So, yeah, it is. It is. But I had. We use a general admission ticket, which is, say $4.99. And I typically do a VIP offer as well, which is $1,000, which includes more features, bonuses, there's dinner, that kind of stuff. And, depending upon, and this is the beauty of automation and segmentation, like you're talking about your if then, right? If somebody buys a ticket for $4.99, I'm going to communicate with them after that purchase much differently than the VIP who spends $1,000 or $1,500 to come to the event.
Right.
And through this platform, it gives us the ability to say, oh, I see what they did here. Well, this person paid $4.99. They go this path. This person paid $1,000 to go down this path. So it really allows you to dial in the messaging and the communication that's going out to the person, depending upon the actions that they have taken. And that's just in my opinion, that's a pretty basic example. I know you can go full blown nerd and pull data from all sorts of areas inside the account and do a lot more with it, which is pretty cool.
100%. I have so much FOMO when I see people that like, oh, well, we do that, and then we pull in this information from these other data sources to better qualify the person. I'm like, oh, I need more time in the day to do some of this really, really cool stuff. Something else that High Level does, which we just recently added to our ticket automation, is I had the company visionary for one of my clients. I had him record me a voicemail, and every single time someone buys a ticket, we do the silent voicemail drop. So someone gets like a, hey, I just saw you bought a ticket kind of thing. And, we all know a lot of the marketing we do these days is automation and recorded. But I'm in the event Facebook group. We're like, oh my goodness, I just got a voicemail from Ray for buying a ticket. I bought the ticket like 2 minutes ago. How do they do that kind of thing? So that was kind of cool. And then there was something else on the events. Okay. So on the event side, High Level, like Thomas and I have been talking about, High Level is always improving. And I'm really excited, Thomas. My programmer brain, the upcoming custom objects is coming up, which is going to make event management even better for us in High Level because, people buy multiple tickets. And that's just the reality of it. And on a ticket, you want to know what's that ticket type. Right now, we have to store the ticket type on the person, but I want to store it over on the ticket and then be able to see all the event details. So And I know that's in progress. I'm on the beta team for that, and that's going to hopefully coming out pretty soon. So event management is a really good use for high level. And it's cool to see you doing some cool things there too.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. The last place that I held a position for a while, we did a lot of events.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, there was no organizational structure to events at all. It was like, hey, here's this landing page. The landing page looked great. Graphic designers and copywriters in the team. The landing page was fantastic. We collected people's money, they received one email. It was like, hey, we got your ticket. Here's your ticket. Here's your money. And there was no actual ticket. There was no way to check this person in at the event. It was kind of a free-for-all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm back and I do a lot of watching before I open my big mouth. And I'm kind of watching this thing go down. I'm like, yeah, this isn't good. We run events on average here. We've got to put a better process, a better system in place. And it took a lot of iterations, a lot of trial and error, a lot of, hey, let's sit down after this event and what did we fuck up? What needs to get better kind of deal.
Yep.
And over, we'll call it a 12 to probably an 18-month window, we took this event system and dialed it in where it's pretty darn tight. And it's still the same framework that I use to this very day, because overall, if you're running an event, this will work. Obviously, there's tweaks and adjustments you need to make depending upon the event itself. But, it's one of the best things that I got out of my time there was learning how to properly set those things up, because now I get to use it for myself. I've consulted with a couple of other buddies who were in the coaching mastermind space. I've helped them implement this in their own systems as well. And here we are talking about it, and you're telling me great news that it's going to get even better. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah. And another, I know we don't have 3 hours. We really could talk about this for 3 hours. What's really good about people like Tomas, when they figure out how to do this and they get it dialed in with high level, is he can do something called a snapshot. And basically it takes a business and makes a copy of it. And then when he gets a new client, he can deploy that. They're one day, they're like, we need an event management system. It's like, oh, I've got that in my hip pocket. Here's a copy of it. And again, it's not 90% of the work, but probably to me, 60 to 70% of the work is done. Because in the event space, let's face it, a lot of it's reusable. The processes and things you'll learn, they're all reusable. So he can reuse that. So the fact that we have this tool that we can do this templating kind of thing is really cool. And then something else people don't talk a lot about in addition to the event space is the using of a tool like this for internal processes. And I think, again, is it kind of, well, maybe the podcast one that you have set up, Snapshot, is a good example of this. But on my Chrome toolbar, I have a bookmark to a form, and I use high level for the internal stuff we do. So, if I meet like a roofer at my front door or something, I can go back to my desk, put the information in, and all the automation and stuff kicks off. But it's not marketing to him. It's setting up tasks for my team and I, and managing things internally. So, once you define something, it's easy to repeat it and it's easy to scale. And that's one of the beauties of marketing automation, is the fact that it allows people like Tomas and I to scale and do a massive amount of things without having to go out and buy a company skyscraper kind of thing. So I know that if I met someone off the street today and they said, I've got 1,000 leads I can send your way, can you follow up with them pretty fast? I'm like, I don't care if it's 2 leads or 2,000 leads. I can follow up with them equally fast. So bring it on. And, I don't have to upgrade my house or go out and get a big expensive office space when you have marketing automation in your pocket.
Yeah, for sure. One of the coolest things that's been super helpful and useful to me, we opened this podcast talking about events, right? We're both two dudes here who, over the course of our career, have probably been to countless events.
Right.
Some good, some bad, some indifferent. But at the end of the day, we go there for a purpose or an intention, or at least you should be. Otherwise, you become one of those event or conference junkies, I like to call them. the event groupies.
Gotta get that swag bag.
Yeah, you do. And that pen.
Exactly.
But one of the things that I like to do is, okay, I'm going to this event. I know the dates, I know the industry, I know the audience, I know roughly the kind of people that are going to be there. What I'll do is I'll actually go in and I will set up a form. I'll use it for internal purposes only. It doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to look good. It is for me, right? I'll have that link saved on my phone. And this day and age, people are handing out business cards still, which kind of blows my mind, but cool, whatever. I'll take it.
Uh-huh.
And what I'll do is I will then manually put that information in when I get a minute. Go to the restroom, go sit down for a couple minutes and rest your feet. Take the business cards that you've received and drop them into this form. Okay. When the form submits, it's just going to flip the page right back. There's no thank you page, no nothing's needed. It's going to flip you back to input once again. Well, that form triggers a workflow. It puts them into this holding pattern, right? And the way I like to do it is typically we go to an event, it's usually Thursday or Friday. I'm just giving an example here. Yes, there's events that are during the week, but let's just say it's a Thursday, Friday event. I will set this thing up so it will not bother, will not respond, will not send anything out to this person until Tuesday or Wednesday of the following week. Because you and I both know, you go to this event, you may book an extra day or two with them. If you may hang out at the pool, have a couple extra beverages, whatever the case is, you got to fly home Sunday. By the time Sunday is, you're exhausted. You're like, fuck, I still got to get to work on it. Monday rolls around and you've missed 300 emails and your inbox is flooded and you're just overwhelmed, right? Life of a small business owner. So why send out an email or a message to this person the day that they are the most stressed and overwhelmed from their return trip?
Good idea.
So let's send it a couple days later when they've settled in and just, hey, it was great to meet you at insert event name here. And you can just build a template that just sends out this communication with these people. If they reply and respond, cool. If they don't, go from there as well. But now the key to it to me is this, and I've lived by this rule for quite some time. Some days I'm good with it, and some days I'm not, and some days it's amazing. The rule that I try to live by is put a minimum of 5 people into your CRM per day. If you can have really 5 leads a day, I think you're doing pretty darn good. And don't get me wrong, there's days you go 2-3 days, I didn't add a single person. And then you go to an event or something, maybe have a speaking engagement, and you drop 40 people in.
Right.
So if you do math, you're averaging out to the 5 a day. So that's something that I've lived by the last couple of years, has really helped me. And when I transitioned out from my last role and went full-time in Step It Up Academy, one of the reasons that I was able to launch and gain traction so quickly is I didn't have a massive list, but I had a list of about 1,600 people that I was able to market to immediately without having to pause, without having to go build all the back-end stuff. It was all there already in place.
Got it. Yeah, I didn't realize that when you started talking about what you did, I was trying to remember, what do I do? Oh, I do a similar thing, except for I don't do it with a form, is I'd come up with my own short code to my own SMS number. And so if I'm fully planning on being down in Dallas for the high level conference later this year. And if I'm on my game, I'll remember to, come up with like a HL24. And it'll be like, just if I'm meeting someone, that was at the Statler Hotel. Like if I'm in the morning having a high protein breakfast down at that Statler Hotel bar, and I'm sitting next to someone and we get to chat, and I'm like, hey, just text HL24 to 405-217-4752 and let's just stay in touch. It makes it really easy. And I may have accidentally learned psychology. I just feel that if somebody takes the proactive action to initiate the communication with me based on an invite, that it means they might be slightly warmer right there. And so, these days I like to be first contact. A lot of times to be text, and I can get their email address later. But all of us our heads are buried in our Android and our iPhones. So that's a really good idea you do there. I did something like that on Infusionsoft a long time ago, and I would even have something on the form that said, were they like a hot, a warm, or a cold lead? And then I would tag them and do the follow-up appropriately, because maybe I want to follow up with them immediately on Monday or Tuesday, like you said, or maybe just wait a couple of weeks or a month out kind of thing. So the whole beauty of what I'm doing and what Thomas is doing is the fact that it's automated. He doesn't have to remember after he spent the time with his wife and he gets back from the conference. He doesn't have to remember to take that stack of business cards the Wednesday and get all those inside our system, because number one, those leads have probably gone from hot or warm to a little bit colder. But also, like you said, who's using business cards anymore? He can sit aside in the Statler Hotel lobby, go through his form, get all this stuff going on, and they're in a system. He can lose the business card if he wants to. He's got it covered.
That's the goal, sir. The goal is to get rid of those things as fast as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah. So You put some stuff together for us here at the show. I want to give you a moment here to talk about. You got an offer. Let's just call it what it is, right? So tell us about what this is and what people can get if they sign up through the link that we're going to provide them.
Got it. Okay, so there's 3 or 4 different ways you can work with us. When I was thinking about what to offer, talk about to you and your audience, I thought one of the easiest ways is just to get on a Zoom call with me for a couple of hours and let's go over your marketing. Let's just call it like a 2-hour consult. No obligation to use our services. As a matter of fact, you can be using under another high-level agency if you want and just get on the phone with us. And it's basically 2 hours, and you don't have to use them concurrently. And we're going to pull up your high-level account, and we're going to go through anything you want in 2 hours. We can build an automation. We can build a coaching automation or do something like Thomas said right there. And it's going to be 2 hours at I think the 2-hour rate is $1,500. And you can use 1 hour now. You can use 1 hour in a year. We don't care. But the whole goal is I just want to be able for you to work inside your account. So the way I like to work is I like to work inside my clients' accounts so they get familiar with it and they are the ones driving, because you're going to learn a lot more. You're going to retain a lot more information if I'm telling you what to do versus if you're watching me what to do. So all you got to do is go over, to stopdoingnothing.com/SIU. And that's my main website is stopdoingnothing.com, but stopdoingnothing.com/SIU. Sign up for that 2-hour block. And then the next page is going to show you a calendar. And, I probably have calendar slots open, Wednesday. I probably have some calendar slots open Thursday and Friday. Friday afternoon, humble brag here. Friday mornings, I spend at elementary school. I've been volunteering at elementary school for like 15, 17 years. And it's just something I'm very proud of. It's getting to be end of year. Those kids are full of cupcakes and sugar, so they get a little bit crazy. So if we're going to book Friday, it's going to be Friday afternoon. But yeah, you just go through there, order the couple of hours through, stopdoingnothing.com/SIU. And let's get on the phone and let's make your high-level account better. Let's do some of the things that Thomas and I are talking about, getting you set up for good events, getting you set up for helping you, scale things and qualify coaching clients. Just about whatever you want in those 2 hours. My brain is yours, and I really won't hold anything back. I'm not gonna, in that 2-hour call, I'm not gonna try to pitch you on a retainer. I'm gonna say, let's get stuff done. After the 2 hours, if you want to talk about something else, then by all means, let's do that. But let's get stuff done. Let's share your screen on Zoom and also record it. And then I'm a big fan of that fireflies.ai thing. Record it, and then I'll give you the whole transcript word for word also. So you're gonna get a lot of that 2 hours.
Yeah, that's awesome. Look, man, that's a solid offer as far as I'm concerned, because a lot of people, here's my opinion. As someone who does a lot of coaching, there's a lot of people who may not be ready for someone, or may not be ready to pay that monthly retainer or the monthly ring charge to coach with someone long-term. And cool, I get it. But that doesn't mean that they don't need help right now. And what you're offering here is, hey, grab 2 hours with me, someone who has a ton of experience, who knows what they're doing. And we're going to go in here. We're not going to talk. I'm not going to ask you how your wife and kids are. We're actually going to shit done in the 2-hour window. And I you know what? For so many people, that is just so much more valuable than getting on a call to talk theory. And I'm just being real.
Right. No, I appreciate it. And I'll tell you the truth, honestly, I don't look at the clock when we're doing this. Like if you say, let's talk for an hour, if we go not hour 45, probably like an hour 15, I'm not going to say, 60 minutes, it's time to get done. It's just 2 sessions. Yeah. And if the sessions are 60 minutes, if they're 65, 70 minutes, I really don't care. But I want you to walk away with the recordings also. So when you and I are talking on camera and doing things, we can focus on that. And then that way you don't have to worry about taking notes. You'll get the recordings, and that way you don't have to worry about taking notes. But oftentimes we just take it for granted. This tech stuff comes to you and I naturally. And I have to be very careful of that like in the Facebook group or something, I don't talk over someone's head. Tech stuff, it can be hard sometimes. And I really like being that middleman between someone who doesn't get tech and, somebody who really does get tech. I'm that middleman when I go visit my mom up in Seattle and I'm teaching her how to use her iPhone and Siri. And I'm that middleman on Zoom all day long. So yeah, if anyone wants to do that, take advantage of it. And like I said, Thomas has a bunch of experience in this also. So talk to either one of us whenever you get a chance.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man. Here we are 44 minutes or so into this recording, and it just clicked for me. And we talked about this briefly, earlier in the show. And I'll put these words, and correct me if you don't feel the same. Okay. I believe that both of us here are what I would call hybrids. We love the nerdy tech side, but we love taking care of ourselves physically in the gym and whatnot. We can speak the tech jargon all day long with the best of them. At this point in time, I go back and I can dumb it down, and so can you. You can dumb it down so the average person can easily understand and comprehend what we're talking about. And I've had this talk with a couple people in the past, but I have the same ability depending upon what room I walk into as well. Spending 20 plus years in a blue collar job, working with my hands, I can go in there and physically talk shop with the guys in an automotive shop, or guys who are, building houses. Like, I've done all of that stuff. Right. And I could also walk into a boardroom and sit down and have a conversation with the CEO. And I don't think there's many people, and I'm patting both of our backs here, by the way. I don't think there's many people on the planet who have the ability to live this hybrid lifestyle and have the ability to effectively communicate with anyone on the spectrum of humans overall. So good job for you, sir. I like it.
Yeah, good job for you too. And yeah, I'm hoping one of those days, the perfect job. They always say, find what you love to do and then monetize it. The perfect job for me someday is going to be like a 24-hour gym, which is right next to an airplane hangar. And then I can have my office kind of in between the two. So I can go from working on airplanes and, taxiing my plane in the hangar to go over and, lifting weights, to go back to my desk to work on stuff right there. And I think I've been told, and again, this is just a fact. I'm not trying to humble brag here. One of the reasons I do a lot of local news appearances, like I'm live on TV here, and I've been told time and time again, it's the fact that you can really, trying not to be insulting, but you can really dumb down something like social media, Patrick, to one of our average viewers. So they know not to be scared. They don't have to be scared. They don't have to be afraid of it. They're just aware of it. And that's what my goal is. Just don't be afraid of technology. Just know what it does and take advantage of it. And so, man, like you said, we're hybrids. I've never used that term before, but I'm going to start using that term. I'm a hybrid now today.
Cool. I like it. I like it. Dude, this has been awesome. I appreciate it on here today. And I'm excited to get this one launched and released. And it'll be out there soon. So if you're listening to this, go check out Patrick. Follow him on the socials. He is a smart dude who's got some cool stuff going on. Man, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you my next time down in Dallas.
Thank you for tuning in to the Step It Up Entrepreneur Podcast. Make sure you head over to stepitupentrepreneur.com and make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Step It Up Entrepreneur Podcast.